But this next one was not fun for me at all. This was the start for the bomb for me, because this fight did not go the way that I thought it would.
That makes two of us, my man, because I absolutely had a bet on Yan Xiaonan. Al, I mean, I said earlier in the week on my prediction video that I drop every Tuesday, I said this fight goes two ways. Carla Esparza gets the takedowns repeatedly and clearly wins this fight. Or Yan Xiaonan maybe gets taken down early, fights her way up, uses some takedown defense. Eventually, Esparza has to abandon the game plan, and Yan Xiaonan strikes her way out, volumes Esparza to a win. It is very rare that you're going to find me on the side, not on the wrestling side, not on the side of the fighter who needs to go out there and repeatedly take this fight to the ground. But let me explain, Al. So I knew Yan Xiaonan. There was a good chance Esparza. I said Esparza is going to take her down. It's a matter of, is Xiaonan going to be able to work her way to the cage, get up, and begin to wear down Esparza, do a good job of avoiding enough takedowns, and then Esparza, like I said, abandons the game plan. Yan Xiaonan begins to get off her offense. What I based that off of, this bet, was the fact that Yan Xiaonan fought Claudia Gadelha, another high-level grappler. I'm not going to go out there and call her a wrestler. She's not a wrestler in the sense of Carla Esparza, but she is a very high-level grappler. Yan Xiaonan gave up a couple takedowns early in that fight. We saw her eventually straighten up with the takedown defense, fight for underhooks, use the cage well, and get off some good shots. And that's what happened. Gadelha eventually had to abandon. Yan Xiaonan is just an incredible volume striker, high-level kickboxing, and eventually runs away with it. I anticipated this fight going that way. Carla Esparza comes in here, elevates her wrestling, right? Looked the best. And even I did catch a bit of a post-fight interview where Esparza said, the path to victory was the wrestling. I really sharpened those skills up. I felt like in the last few fights, we've seen Esparza not lean so much on the wrestling. Even in the Michelle Waterson matchup, it was Michelle Waterson having success wrestling Esparza. Man, I'll just say this. Esparza as an underdog, Esparza as a fighter, Esparza's team, as far as strategy coming in here, was it absolutely blatant what the game plan was going to be? Definitely. But to sharpen those skills, Carla Esparza, I'll say it. She is the best wrestling female we've ever seen in MMA. I truly believe that. I think she's the best pure wrestler, and her ability, her top game is so far beyond anything Yan Xiaonan has the ability to defend. As soon as she got her down solidly flat on her back one time, she never got up. You know what I mean? We saw her defend the takedown early, but Carla Esparza chain wrestles. We saw a lot of 50-50 situations where they both were in the process of either getting up or Xiaonan being able to break away, or Esparza coming forward. Esparza consistently comes forward, puts the pressure, eventually finds Yan Xiaonan on her back. And Esparza, who has not finished a fight in so long, gets her in a dominant crucifix position, lands some good elbows. This was a quality stop fight. And, in hindsight, the Yan Xiaonan performance just absolutely atrocious. Goes out there overly aggressive early. Out. When you're going up against a high-level wrestler, it's not forward pressure all the time. You're going to overcommit, and essentially you're going to feed yourself into the smaller, shorter fighter, Esparza, looking for the takedowns, Esparza, looking in on your hips, Esparza. This was a terrible execution of game plan on the Yan Xiaonan side, as much as it was a perfect, flawless victory by Carla Esparza. I had Xiaonan, but man, tip of the cap to the Esparza bettors. How I didn't end up on that side, I'm not totally sure. You guys know I'm such a sucker for a good wrestler. I just felt like I couldn't bank on Esparza to come in here and do it. Well, she came in here and did it, my man. Looked absolutely impressive. Yan Xiaonan, a 6-fight win streak, the longest win streak in the division. Esparza, with that dominant performance, man, looking like she's ready for a potential title shot and a rematch against Rose Namajunas. Al, take it away.
Yeah, Yan, we got to think of a phrase or a word to describe what I keep talking about when I bring this up. But right off the hop, you knew that Carla Esparza was winning this fight. Like, Yan came in way too aggressive, and Esparza just heavy takedown game, working that crucifix position, and Xiaonan was able to reverse, but all in all, it was just it didn't matter. Anything that Xiaonan was able to do, Esparza was able to do better tenfold, and it was just rinse and repeat in the second round. She was doing everything in her skill set to nullify Xiaonan altogether. And this was a real exposing of Xiaonan, and it was one of those like y'all must have forgot type moments for Esparza. Because Esparza is she's been in the UFC for almost 10 years. She's been around for a very long time. She is the inaugural UFC women's strawweight champion. So it's a
real OG.
And this was you can just tell with the way that she looked in the pre-fight. It was just it wasn't good. And I had the over, and usually when I had the over in a parlay, on the tail end of a parlay, and usually when I'm up, I'll hedge, and I'll take the other side. And in this one, I didn't. And the under 2.5 in this one cashed at plus 350. So this was, just kicking myself because, usually when I'm up on the night on a tail out of a parlay, I'll hedge out, but I was down. So I was just like, no, I need the units. And, had Xiaonan, and I had the over, or fight goes the distance, yes. And, man, it was just almost a non-event. Like, Xiaonan had, I wouldn't say that she had her moments, but she had her moments in defending Esparza. And it was all Esparza, just basically the whole fight. And she cashed as a plus 110 underdog. And she's now 9-4 in the UFC, and she's plus 6.8 units on the money line since coming into the UFC in 2014. So she's she's right up there. I think what you got to do, and I think it's just that as simple as this. You got to go Esparza Rose main event of a pay-per-view, and you have Wiley and Joanna on the co-main event. And, that's the number one contender fight. And I think beyond that, those are the two fights to make basically in the strawweight division, because, I don't know who else Esparza has to beat. They were trying to build up Xiaonan, and she just got exposed tonight. So, it's one of those things similar to Charles Oliveira, where it's just like it's clearly the UFC doesn't, has been trying to bury her, and she's just the cream rises to the top with Carla Esparza, and I think she's got to fight for the title her next fight, and if she has that wrestle heavy game against Rose, how do you think that fight would go?
Wow, Al, man, you took the thoughts right out of my head, because, I mean, don't get me wrong. Is Yan Xiaonan a high-level anti-wrestler? No, not at all. So it is tough to get a gauge on how good Esparza's wrestling looks right now. I mean, it looked damn good. I mean, she made not one mistake tonight, that's for sure. Is Rose Namajunas way better at working against wrestling than Yan Xiaonan? Oh, absolutely. But man, again, I'm such a sucker for a wrestle heavy style. how does Rose Namajunas win a fight against Carla Esparza? Exactly the same way Yan Xiaonan does. The fight needs to be standing. The fight just needs to stay standing. It's just that simple. How is Esparza going to beat Rose? She's putting her on her back, right?
Yeah.
So, dang, dude, I don't know. Intriguing matchup, and probably one we're going to get. I feel like that is the matchup to make, coming off that dominant performance by Esparza. Oof, I don't know, Al. I'm going to have to think about that one, man. I'm going to have to really analyze and take into account how I feel Rose's takedown defense looks as it stands right now. The problem with that is, when's the last time Rose went up against a wrestle-heavy fighter? Probably the last time she fought Carla Esparza. You know, We know how that went. That was ages ago to be the inaugural women's strawweight champion, right? So, man, Al, I wish I could give you a stronger lean or a stronger read right now, but I will say this, man, that Esparza we saw tonight's looking pretty good and pretty dominant. So, I mean, a fighter, she just doesn't finish. I mean, I think that might be her first finish in the UFC. I mean, I think she might be pre-UFC since she's won a fight by
no, because she beat Rose by stoppage, right?
Okay, so that's got to so in other words, I'm pretty sure her first was that by stoppage. Man, I can't even remember, dude. I'd have to go back and watch that fight. Honestly, though, it's so long ago. How much relevance do we even think that matchup pertains to now? I mean, we're talking about the fight that birthed a division versus now a belt that's gone through so many hands, so many different champions, just a lot of crazy stuff, man. So,
yeah, she beat Rose by rear naked, and
there you go.
Besides that, she's never won by stoppage besides tonight.
Unreal. So there you go, and that's where the books are coming up with, those unders being just absolutely monster plus money. I'm gonna tell you right now, which you didn't see a lot of people out there, taking the L on the chin. There's a lot of people who picked Carla Esparza this week. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now, just because if she got the wrestling off, she was going to win. But you know what they did, Al? They took Carla Esparza by decision and still took the L on this one, didn't they? Because it's just so obvious Esparza is going to win by decision. It's just what she does. So honestly, Esparza probably sinks a lot of ships tonight, winning that fight inside the distance. So that was our co-main, Al. What is there anything you want to say before we move on to the main event?
Yeah, just really quickly. Carla Esparza cashed by TKO at plus 1450.
Damn.
Just wild stuff. But yeah, let's
absolutely
move on to this next one.